What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It is Matt or Snussycopen, whatever you guys want to call me, but today we are going to experiment on the LB7 and we're going to take some stuff off and see if I like it and see how bad it is underneath. Let me explain. So truthfully, I prefer the bigger fender flares with the little rivets inside of it, and I'm not really a fan of these, so I think for the time being I might take them off, but I am a little bit worried because obviously rub marks could potentially be underneath here and there could be some hidden rust. As I came around to the back side over here, it's going to be hard to see. I can't even see where I saw it. Right inside here you can kind of see remnants of like kind of chipping and a little bit of rust. So worst case scenario, we go through the video, we take them all off, you guys figure out and learn how to do it, and if I want to put them back on, I'll put them back on. But first, before we get into the intro to the video, we gotta pack us a pinch. Big thing that I'm kind of concerned of is they put like this stripping down here on the bottom, and I definitely feel like it just stops here, it doesn't go underneath, so I'm kind of gonna have that void, so we'll have to figure out what we want to do there. But like I said, we're going to start, I want to start in the back just because I did see a little bit of the rust spots, and I know a lot of people to say to start up front. I'm going to start in the back here and see how it looks. So just an FYI, this is my first time removing fender flares on any vehicle, to be honest with you. I've put fender flares on, not taking them off, so I'm going to assume that they're pretty basic. Now I'm going to start by taking off the mud flaps because it does feel like the mud flap is actually connected to the fender. So we're going to disconnect the mud flaps, which look like a 10mm socket. There is 3 of those, so we'll get those 3 out and then start popping the clips inside underneath the fender flare. It is double-sided tape, but there's also like these little clips that you just need to take a flat head and pop off. Alright guys, so like I said, it was just these 3 10 mils that needed to come off to get the mud flap off, which this has definitely been on there for a very long time. There was actually rocks up underneath inside like the little cove of the mud flap itself, but underneath here you guys can kind of see right here you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these that need to come off, and then double-sided tape, so we're gonna have to pull. Now a lot of you guys might not have this, but this is a little tool specifically for like the little plastic grommets that I have and I use specifically for working on the Dale Merrill, which is inside there. It's really helpful for not breaking them. Can you get them off of the flathead without breaking them? Absolutely. You just have to be very, very careful. Alrighty, so now that all 6 of them are pulled out, this should feel not loose, but like decently that you can like wobble it back and forth. Like down here where the mud flap was, you can actually see the double-sided tape over here kind of slowly starting to peel away. So we're gonna pull this off and see what it looks like, see how faded we are underneath here. So one thing that I did notice right away as we got that back one off, look at all the dirt and the double-sided tape residue that is going to be over here. Now there's probably going to be rub marks for sure, but let's clean this up, see how it looks, see if I like the appearance of it like this, then the other side. You stupid hose. Come on. Got a nice little kink going on here, huh? Yeah. There we go. Now we're talking business. Alright, so now that it's been kind of hosed down, we have a lot of work ahead of us to get a lot of this double-sided tape off. The rust obviously doesn't look bad at all, if any. Like I said, down here we're gonna have to continue the black on both sides just to kind of make it look equal. All right, so now that you can see the difference between the front and the back, I do like the look of it better, but I will say it did leave some pretty gnarly lines. Now, it's not all the way off, but you guys can see the line that it left from being on there. I mean, this is a 2002 GMC Sierra 2500, which if you guys don't know, this Duramax has blow by, which I'll add in a clip right after this. But ultimately, if we decide to keep this truck, which we're still teetering back and forth, worst case scenario, I'll put them back on when we go to trade it in, or if we keep it, it's gonna eventually get bushwhackers anyway, so I'm not really worried about these lines. But yeah, look at that LB7 smoke, baby. It's normal for it to smoke like that, right? Yeah. The front side is now off. You guys can see how dirty, once again, it was underneath there. This is such a hit or miss type thing. If you guys are looking to respray your truck, I would definitely recommend it and go with the flareless look, or wrap the truck. Ultimately, like I said, if we were keeping this truck, it will most likely get wrapped or possibly painted. Obviously, main thing is getting the motor itself figured out. And honestly, I like the look of flareless in comparison to flared, especially once you have wider wheels. Like, I feel like once we get a wider wheel setup and we have a little bit of poke, the flareless look just looks 20 times better. Well guys, the front is somewhat cleaned up, still a little bit wet, but I must say I like this look a lot better than having the flares. And hopefully, you know, some of you guys learned something from this. If you guys want to take your flares off, I will say it does leave residue and it does leave marks. So like I said in previous clips, be prepared for that. And, you know, just understand you will probably have a little bit of lines. Like you can kind of see right there, a little bit of a line right there. I'm sure if you worked hard enough at it, you could get the rest of it off. There is still a little bit of residue, but in the back, this is more dry. You guys can see kind of like the distinct difference of where it was. Now obviously it's not completely cleaned up, but for the time being, we're going to leave the truck like this and probably do the other side tomorrow. So if this was your first time watching a video on my channel, I hope you give this video a big thumbs up. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the post notifications. Hopefully you guys learned something today. I definitely learned that fender flares leave marks. That is the biggest thing, but like I said, we will move forward from it. Most likely, if we keep the truck, get different flares. So if you guys are curious about what it would be like to take off your flares, now you know. Ultimately, like I said, we're still teetering back and forth with the Duramax, what we were going to be doing if we were getting another Duramax or fixing this one. We just have to wait to get into the shop. If you guys like all sorts of automotive stuff, this is the channel that has it. We have the 1992 Project Dale Merrill, which is getting painted like Dale Earnhardt. We have the LB7 Duramax, my wife's Jeep, and a 1988 Camaro, and we are looking to get a project motorcycle on the channel. We ride four-wheelers, snowmobile, all that stuff. So till the next time, guys, see ya.